What's up, Sam? What's good with you?
Hey, it's always good with me, brother.
Yep, great seeing you. Great
I'm
seeing you. Yes,
just
sir.
getting back from Hot Atlanta, brother.
Oh, you was down there? What was happening down there?
We had our national conference, so I was there for 2 weeks.
Wow, you been there? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's time. Oh yeah, you supposed to come on too, right? Yeah, we did make an agreement, right?
We did.
Yeah, we could talk about that as well.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
sorry. The show is moving and we talking. Annette, I'm sorry.
No,
let's
please.
word on the curb thing.
Word on the curb.
Let's
I'm Annette. I am your host here this evening. You can see us live on Facebook at the Black Girls Locker Room, What Trenton Really Makes, and Word on the Curb. Please see us on YouTube at Word on the Curb. Hit the like, subscribe, and share button and ring the bell. This is one time we want you to put our business in the street, all of it.
Yeah.
I'd like to introduce my guest tonight. I'm going to start with Paul and work my way back up. I have Paul Mills here. I have Sharon Such a Diva Harris all the way from Georgia. A sweet peach. I have Winston Dramatic Mills. I have Charity Lee. And I have Commissioner Frisbee. And tonight, we're talking about love language. So the men had their discussion before the football fight, after the football fight, and the women had their discussion on another podcast about, where we really were with men's language. And so this conversation is going to flow between the five that are here. We have a sixth person joining us later. And so, Charity, I'm going to let you kick it off. Go with
it. So you want me to tell a little bit about myself and about my brand? Right?
Always.
Correct?
Always.
Okay, cool. My name is Charity. I am a mother of two. I own a brand called Dates Galore. I do vlogs on YouTube, just creating relationship awareness. That's one of the things that has interested me about coming on to your podcast, Annette, and thank you for inviting me to discuss this love languages to communicate better with a lover. So that's what my brand is about, and I'm happy to be here and talking with you good folks.
And Charity, before I move forward, I just want to remind you that you also spoke to love language applying to your children.
And in our last conversation, yes.
So love language.
I like how it crosses over to all relationships, customer service, strangers, other people that we love, like siblings, parents. We all have a love language.
Who said we loved our siblings? Knock it off. That's a bit much.
I love mine. Shout out to my brother. I love my siblings.
I do too. I do too. Thank you, Charity.
Thank you.
Commissioner.
Hi, how are you? Commissioner Sam Frisbee. I live here in the city of Trenton. I've been married to my incredible wife, Teska Frisbee, who's the president of City Council here in Trenton. But we've been married for 26 years, 2 boys. And we met in business. And it's funny because you talk about how the love languages, it permeates everything. And we both read that book for the first time in business. It wasn't about our relationship. It was about how we relate to other people and feeding their love languages, because that's the way that you build bridges. And so, love talking about these types of things. My whole life is built around service and how I deal with people. And because of that, I've got to really be able to discern where people are when I'm talking to them very quickly. So that's why I love talking about the love languages.
You had 2 children, but you raised more out of love.
We raised 6 children, nieces and nephews who have come to live with us.
Yes.
We've tried to be a blessing every place. That's actually the reason we bought this house, because at the time when we moved to Trenton, we had 6 children living in the house, and we needed a house big enough to hold all of them. So,
now, if that's not a love language, I don't know what is. Come on, Paul.
Hey, everybody. My name is Paul Mills. I'm married to Miss Rajanta Hodges Mills, and we're both co-owners of Diesel Therapeutics, LLC, where I'm a life coach and she's a mental health therapist. We're focused on repairing the mental health aspect, especially starting in the Trenton area. So look out for us. You know, we're going to be here tonight talking about some real stuff with this love language thing that we got
Good.
going on.
Pull her in. Pull her in.
Yeah, well, she's working right now, but if she's available, I'm pull her in.
All right. Okay. Sharon.
Hello, everyone. I'm
Hey.
Sharon. I'm originally from Trenton, but I live in Savannah, Georgia. Been here for about 20 years. And Charity, last week I was listening to you when you talked about reaching out with the children. I have 8 adult children, and the love language is very important. Very important.
Yes, ma'am.
I was just listening to you guys last week. I heard a lot of good things. Heard a lot of things I hadn't heard before, and just wanted to jump in here.
Okay. And I'm really happy to have you. And Sharon has an incredible story and is a future podcaster. Thought I'd put that out there.
Thank you.
And I'd like to see everybody start a podcast or a blog. I'm telling you, it's the way to communicate these days. Winston, the troublemaker who started this whole love language discussion. Come on.
Oh my goodness.
You have the world famous Winston Dramatics, straight out of Trenton, New Jersey. And my background is a business background, relationships, great relationships and building great relationships, not messing relationships on the way up. Right now, I have a podcast that I'm really digging. That I met most of you guys from. Some of them I met, some of the folks I met earlier in life, but it's just a Trenton thing, and I like to get the voices out in the public. I like a voice that's really not heard. I want the voices heard. Some things are best kept quiet, right? Some things are best kept quiet, but I'm an amp, so I amplify. If it's something that's on your mind, I like to amplify, especially if it's a beautiful thought. That's a part of what Winston Dramatics show is about, for people who don't have such a voice, to have more than a voice in the world, and also make great relationships. You know, if you want to hear any more, you can probably buy a book of mine, probably coming soon, or you could just tune in to see what's my method of how my method of doing things. But straight out the city of Trenton, New Jersey is what I'm really promoting right now. Heavy business.
T-Town, baby, T-Town.
Yes, T-Town in the building. Where my bell at?
Yes.
Yeah, we need to all say that
Ring
at
that
one
bell.
time. Yeah, T-Town is in the building.
DJ, music artist,
Yes.
business,
Yes.
politics, and
Absolutely.
people. That's what Winston's talking about.
That's what
Hit him up. He's at the Winston Dramatic Mills show
absolutely.
and studio, and he's doing some phenomenal things. All right, y'all, let's kick off this conversation. Who wants to start it?
Someone has to make the line, start it off, set it up, make the idea flow. What's going on? Talk to us.
I would love someone to.
Let's start off with a question then.
What was you thinking all week?
Now let's ask this. Let's ask ourselves this: do we think love languages is spoken, or is it something that's done, or is like something you might do for somebody?
Of course
Is
not.
A form of communication.
Well, it
What do
depends
y'all
on
think?
what the love
It's
language
the
is,
whole nine.
right? Because there are words of affirmation,
That's
right? And so that takes some words. My love language is touch, right?
Yes.
So my wife doesn't have to say anything to me. She doesn't have to reaffirm me. It's a touch, right? I can give a speech, and she doesn't have to say, "Hey, that was a great speech." All she has to do is look at me, wink,
You can see it.
stop by, touch me on the shoulder. I know what it was.
That's a
Right?
vibe.
So it all depends on what your love language is. The only one if I remember correctly, that is truly has to be spoken is words of affirmation. The other one, gifts and services, touch, all the other ones you can actually do without a word.
So I would like to add to piggyback off what you just said, Sam. Mine's is, since I guess we shouting out what our love languages is, mine's is quality time.
Mm.
And what I learned in quality time, it's pretty much quality of everything. So sometimes it involves words like quality conversations, in depth questions, and trying to dig in deeper to understand what's needed at the time.
Nice.
Right. Right. Beautiful thing.
Yeah, yeah.
It's beautiful. Anything else? Go in. Y'all need
Oh, quality meals too. Quality meals. Don't.
See, she ain't playing.
She
said,
thinks she's serious about this.
Don't
I
give
have
me
to think she's serious about this. Yeah.
Something neat. Huh.
That's what's up.
That's where I fall victim.
Okay.
Wait a minute. Did somebody say victim? Quality is the love language for real?
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, I think that one of the things that you started off with a question, and I think that for me, since we're talking about love languages and we're talking to a group of folks, because we're talking to the world out there on the internet, does everybody know their love language? Right? Because there are some folks that don't even recognize that they have one, or if they recognize that they have one, they don't know how to call it a thing. Right? There used to be a time in education when they were like, oh, if you can't say it, you're not really educated. Well, there's some people that feel it intuitively. And so do people actually know what their love languages are?
Right. Right.
I know what mine is, and you better believe if I'm communicating with a significant other, he's going to know what it is too.
Absolutely.
That's right.
But I mean, how if they don't know it, how would they have help finding it? Like, if they don't know, you know what I mean? How would
they know?
Partner,
how will you know if I really love you?
Partner,
I think podcasts like this is bringing awareness to the fact that there is such a thing called love languages. And I also would like to put out there that Mr. Chapman has put this in an easier format for us all to understand. And we should refer back to the book to just, build on the knowledge of what the love languages is. Because it's true, a lot of people don't know that, and they don't have this method system to reference.
Right.
So everybody's just like, well, he's not spending enough time with me, and she's not doing.
Yeah.
You muted yourself.
Mic off.
You muted yourself. You was going in.
You muted the mic.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, come back in.
Sorry about that. I'm back. But everybody's just kind of like saying what they're not receiving.
Yeah.
Without this system, you can't really identify it. So this is a great thing for us to know what our love language is, so that we could communicate that and make it easier. And it's good to know how to love the one that we want to love.
Yeah.
Right.
How to be sure they're understanding that we're loving them.
Yeah.
Because if we remove touch from this conversation, then we can delve in a little bit deeper, because touch is a given, right? You express yourself through feelings. It's kind of like music is what feelings sound like, right?
Right.
So without the touch, how do you express it? Paul, let's start with you.
Okay.
How do you express it without the touch? Your actions. Your actions to show everything, and just to go left a little bit, just a tad. I don't personally think we all have one form of love language.
That's right.
I think we vary in love languages at different points and different times. Because let's say for instance, you guys are sitting at a dinner table. He prepared dinner for you, Miss Annette.
I'm in love already.
Some shrimp scampi with some butter sauce on it, garlic butter sauce. And he dips the shrimp, and he rubs it on your lip, and then start try to feed you sensually. Now you're experiencing the action of service, and you're experiencing touch. at the
So
same
we're not
time.
going to finish eating?
No,
might
you
not.
might not. You might go straight to dessert.
If I got anything to do about it, yeah, she ain't finishing.
Yeah. So it's just it's just a thought that we don't have to sit in one lane. Like this love
That's
language is
right.
a 5-lane highway, and we can run all over that highway.
I like to think of it as a Los Angeles highway.
Mm-hmm.
More than 5, just multiples,
Yeah.
all over the place, moving. Sharon, come on, jump in here.
Hey, I was having such a great time listening. But for me, for the most part, it's quality time. And mainly because I'm here for the most part alone. So
Okay.
quality time is really important to me, whether it be one-on-one or whether it be a group setting. And generally a group setting for me is me and some of my children. But
Okay.
as far as acts of service, like that's like me. Like that's how I communicate with pretty much everybody that I deal with. And one, because of the type of work that I do, and two, because of the type of person that I am. But he talked about the food. That's
Don't
one of my
expose too
love
much here,
languages.
sister.
Ain't no salad girl either. Take
But
note. Ain't no salad
even
girl either.
like say for instance, if we're not, if we can't see eye to eye, just say on a particular subject. I don't do sports, so I couldn't identify with any of that stuff y'all were talking about. But that doesn't mean that I can't be supportive of you. But how I do that is that I need to cook a meal so that we can have something else to talk about besides the sports. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's a part of my food in general is a part of my love language. Because once we sit down to eat, now we could go the route that he was going, or we could just break the ice.
I like his route.
I did too. I did too. But I found out that once we start eating, we can almost talk about anything. You know what I mean? It's that's just my experience. I don't know about other people because some people don't play when they eating. They don't want to hear nothing. They don't want
Right.
to see nothing.
Right.
But that's my experience is to sit down over a meal, and it doesn't have to be a full 7-course meal. It could be finger food. You know what I mean? It just depends on what we're trying to achieve at that point. Because like they say, Venus and Mars. You know what I'm saying? Like I think you should know these things, but if I don't tell you, how will you know? You know what I mean? And I don't
Right.
like to assume. I want to know, do you like to be touched this way? I want to know, do you like this certain food? I want to know, do you want to sit down and have a stimulating conversation? You know what I mean? So, like we talked about in the beginning, we can say, that there's 5 or 10 or 15 or 1,000 love languages, but if we don't communicate them, you know what I mean? You don't know if I like to be touched or how I like to be touched if I don't tell you,
Right.
So it shouldn't be a thing of, like if you touch, don't do that. You know what I mean? Like there's ways to say, you know what I mean, to communicate with someone and to let them know. So, and we all have to pay attention. We all have to pay attention because sometimes we miss things.
Right.
We miss things. Like you said, it's not always about the touch or the words. It's things that we just have to pay attention to. Do you respond a certain way when I do a certain thing? Do you catch an attitude when I do a certain thing? So we need to speak about that.
Okay. I like that.
All right.
Come on, Winston.
It's me. It's on me. All right. All right. So you said without touch, right? Without touch.
Winston, what's your love language?
My love language is comfortable, like being comfortable, comfortability, and let me speak into my microphone right here. This is my prop, right? So it's about comfortability, right? And being able to speak to my mate every day. It's not even about a touch as much. It get there, but it's not about a touch as much. but it's about being able to speak and making me comfortable. It's nurturing. You know what I mean? Everything that you hear from your mate, you probably like Miss Sharon just said, you're not gonna, you have to know which way to turn. So it's just like getting lost in traffic in New York and going somewhere. You're gonna get lost maybe a few times first, and then you're gonna get it, right? But it's nurturing, like a relationship and love language is just nurture, being able to nurture and constantly grow the plant, grow your mind, grow the relationships, because you're not gonna like everything that every
That's right.
mate do. But the main thing is that you're able to come back and repeat it and be like, I don't like that. You could go left this time with the idea, the thought, and the body movement. You know what I mean? Which make it great. The basic thing that I learned of it is that it's nurturing. You know what I mean? And my mom taught me this. And I don't like to bring my mom up because that's mama's boy stuff, right? And I'm gonna bring this out on this.
Well, you are a mama's boy. So,
I am. But you can see that, but you ain't had to say it. Listen, that you ain't had to say it. You know it. You ain't had to say it. That's inside. But it's all good. But even all right, on here dealing with whatever woman that's on here, I see that same nurturing hand in my life. You get what I'm saying? Now this is kind of personal, and it ain't going as far as the touch. Like we ain't going past a certain line with it. But the nurturing of a woman, right? The nurturing part is the biggest part to a man to make him comfortable. Not for him to walk on you or whatever, but getting down to the detail of the mindset, the mind, and knowing that she got my back. You get what I'm saying? I'm speaking from the opposite side from the man to the woman. So you're supposed to speak from your side to my side, right? You know what I mean? But the main thing is just that knowing that you got my back, making me feel comfortable. We may mentally brawl from time to time, to have a tug of war, but the beautification in it is just knowing that, all right, she's not gonna hurt me this far. It's just like having a baby. When you have the baby, a woman, she's gonna hold that baby. Women were brung here to do certain things, you know what I mean? Certain nurtures. And she automatically know it, just like a cat. I asked my mother one day, the cat had babies. I said, is she gonna know what to do? I was crazy young. I said, is she gonna know what to do with those cats? She said, yes, she automatically know what to do. You know what I mean? She automatically knew what to do with the cat. So I just believe it's a nurturing tool, like it's being nurtured, and that's the major love language that's going on right now. This going on, that's eternity. You know what I mean? That came straight from God. You know what I mean? That came straight from God. You can't turn your back or disagree with too many things that come straight from God. And you probably can think you can disagree, but you can't disagree with what comes straight from God. You know what I mean? And that's
therein lies some confusion. That's a great statement, but therein lies some confusion. Right. A lot of people don't know, don't study,
right,
and don't believe. And therein, as I said, lies a lot of the confusion. They don't know, they don't study, and they don't believe. And so they miss all of this stuff about love language and how important it is to you. So let's try this question. Sam, we got you, right? Did you go? Okay. Let's try this question. You're meeting somebody for the first time. And for those of you who are married, think about your wives, okay? You're meeting somebody for the first time. How would you convey to them what your love language looks like? I mean, what would you tell them? And Sam, I'm going to start with you.
So if I meet them for the first time, they're probably not going to get my love language because I don't trust them enough yet. Like I think Winston said a mouthful, because in whatever relationship it is, we all don't want to be hurt, right? So it's difficult for
Yeah.
people to be vulnerable. And so until I know that you've got my best interest at heart, you're not going to know what my love language is.
That's right.
You know, so for me, it's about I'm feeling you out because I need to understand. I think I told you when I met my wife, and I knew that I needed to have three things, right? There are a lot of things that you can categorize it, but I needed three things from my wife, the woman that I knew that I was going to marry. First, she had to be attractive to me. Didn't matter what she was to anybody else. She needed to be attractive to me.
Okay.
Second thing was that we needed to have a spiritual connection. So I needed to understand where she was in her spiritual life.
Okay.
And the third thing was we needed to be able to hold a really good conversation, right? I needed to be able to talk about more than just one or two things. I like to talk about world things, right? And so things that traverse in this country and other countries. And so we needed to be able to have dialogue in that way. If I could find those three things all in the same woman, I knew that that was going to be the woman I married. And I dated for a long time. I was 29 when I got married. And so it wasn't like, finding somebody right out of college or high school. I was 29 and I dated a lot of different women, but I couldn't get all three in one woman until I met Teska. Right. So for me, you're not going to learn my love language in the first conversation. I'm seeking to see who you are and can I trust you to allow you further into my heart. It's funny. I was watching Sister do some spoken word today, and it was for you. She talked about, hey, you know what? I want to get the sex out the way first, because everybody talk about, hey, look, you don't want to give him your body. You want to find out in your mind. She said, my mind is my most valuable thing. So I can get that thing out of the way first.
Right. Wow. That's yeah.
And then I want to talk about what's valuable, because if we have sex and that's wonderful, but you can't talk about anything else, then you're not the one, right? We can't take this thing any further. And she did a really incredible spoken word piece on this. But we major in the minors sometimes. Those things that are really minor, we major in those things rather than majoring in the majors. And the majors are, what type of conversation can we have? What do we love? How do I want to protect you? And how do you want to protect me? Right. And when we can talk about those things, then we can move to a different level.
Well, that's pretty deep. Thanks for sharing that, because this person's ability to speak about and delve to the intimacy first and then get to the mind, I'm just the opposite. I need to know what the mind is. I don't want to waste my time on something that eventually is going to taper off. I want the thing that's going to be around for a while. The mind, how you think and what you do. So the fact that that particular woman felt that way, salute to her, because to each his reach. That's not my reach. So thanks for sharing that, Sam. That's interesting. That's really interesting.
Yeah, that was dope. That was a dope method. I heard that method, Sam, before. I heard it one time in the street before. But I usually run with the method that Annette used. That's what I run with. But I'm like, that math is backwards. That's a backward math, but it work. Like it's a different math, like how math work nowadays, I guess.
And I aspire to that same thing, but the message was majoring in
the message.
The outcome.
My most valuable thing really is my heart, because if I give you my heart, it's like, look,
it's hard. You can't get that back. Yeah, it's hurt. It's hurt.
Yeah.
Right.
So I was sitting there listening. I was like, oh, she is killing this thing. Because
that was a hard
after she got through all of that other stuff, the superficial stuff, it was like, how do we meld our minds together? How do you take care of my heart? How do you take care of my spirit? Can you do those things? Because if you can't do those things, then all that other stuff doesn't really matter.
That stuff. Yeah, you're right.
And see, that's your love language. That's what you need. How I learned that changes the game.
You just connected that for me, because I heard this years ago, but I was disagreeing in that. Like it was backwards. But when you just connected it for me, I'm like, yo,
Yeah.
When I heard it, I'm like, yo, you just did the problem for me. It's an old theory, but I guess it worked for some. I can't go against their math. That's how their mathematical, how they work. But it was
Charity,
dope.
how's it mapping for you?
Uh-oh. After what Sam said, it's like, whoa. So, Sam.
Yes, ma'am.
I feel comfortable with sharing my love language in the first conversation or on the first date. The thing that I've learned is, once again, my love language is quality time. And under quality time is quality everything. So even with sharing that, I find that some people still cannot provide that, give me that quality time. Conversation is garbage. No type of opinion, asking all kinds of crazy questions like, did I put enough cologne on? Like, I don't got, you know what I mean? So I can't think of nothing else crazy, but it's like, I don't want to spend quality time with you, so don't worry about it. You can't give me what my love language is. You see what I'm saying? So, and I'm in agreement with Sam that, there's a lot of things that you're going to have to do to even, it doesn't matter if you're speaking my love language, that doesn't mean that you're the one. But if you are the one, you need to speak this love language so that we can communicate well. It's really for building up love and nourishing love. That's what the love language is for me.
I think Winston said that when he talked about nurturing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sharon?
Yeah, and Charity just said something that made sense as well to me, as far as you may be able to speak the language doesn't necessarily mean you're for me.
That's right.
And in my experience is a lot of times they want to skip right past language in general, love or otherwise, because we just want to go, where we want to go. And it's just like, no, you know what I mean? Because
that's what we want to.
Right. Yeah, you can call it that. But but a lot of times it's like, just like she said, you want to ask me stupid questions. You don't have any drive. You don't have any. You don't know anything, and it's just like, but can we go to the bedroom? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And this thing about materialistic things, well, if I buy you this or if I buy you that, it's like, I work every day, I can buy that myself. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not looking for, when people talk about, oh, I can take care of you. Do you know what that consists of?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, do you really know what that, because it has nothing to do with material things. Right. Like, can you really take care of me, my heart? Can you protect me?
Yeah.
And sometimes you say protection and they look at you like, for what?
Yeah.
Right.
No, we're not talking about out in the streets and you got a 9, you know what I mean? No, that's not what we're talking about here.
Right.
But sometimes it's just hard to get through. So like, what's his name? Up here. He said about not getting my my love language on the first date, because like I just don't have time to waste like that. You know what I mean? Like, because it don't take a whole lot of time to see, you know what I mean? It don't take a whole lot of time. That conversation go left so quickly. It's just like, we're not coming back. We're not circling back. We're not circling back. Because see, that was your first impression. So you should have did really well then. But that's who you are. I'm not taking anything from you. I'm just not taking you with me. It's real simple, But yeah, it's very important to me, like she said, to be able to sit down, talk about things other than, I don't want to hear about the Real Housewives. I don't want to hear about them. Those not even real people, you know what I mean? In my opinion, like we need to talk about like what's going on in the world today. There's so many distractions and things that you're not even paying attention to. You know what I mean?
That's
But
right.
yeah, we need to be able to be on this. You know, we don't always have to be on the same page, but we
Right.
definitely have to be in the same book.
Yeah.
We don't have to be on the same page, but we need to be in the same book.
That's
You
right.
know,
That's
but
right.
yeah.
No.
So
That's sharp right there. I like
I
that.
like that, Sharon. That's the book for me. Come on, Paul.
All right. All right, here we go. Two things. First of all, when I was first trying to win my wife over, I didn't know I
like
loved
that.
her yet.
I like
But
that.
I
that you were
didn't
trying to win her
develop
over.
love language, you know. Secondly, I think different relationships offer different deliveries and different acceptances of the love language. Like
Right.
Charity is not going to give the same as Miss Sharon, nor is Miss Annette. You know, y'all may touch, but it's not going to be the same touch. And for me, I have to be open for that type of touch. You understand my example? Now, the reverse things, I studied my wife before I started dating her. I paid attention to her.
Love that.
I paid super attention to her from high school because I knew her from high school, but I didn't really get the chance to meet up and talk to her until like almost 2008. So it was almost my 10-year reunion till I actually first got a chance to talk to her. And I actually was in her DM. You know what I mean? I asked her, what was going on, how she doing, long time no see, what was her situation?
Wow.
And she said, do I want the long version or the short version? And I said, I want the long version. Because I was willing to sit there and listen because I knew her. I had previously admired her and I wanted to know her. I wanted to get to know her more.
That's exciting.
So I had to develop an understanding. So the love wasn't there like initially. Not to say I didn't respect her, I didn't care for her, but it wasn't merged into love. And I think when we play with that word love so much, I think it's really a basis of a lot of things. You know, it's not just one. You can't just be like, I'm in love with you. No, that's dangerous. You got to protect yourself. Take your time, build your relationship, forge that love. You know, I could turn around and argue with her right now, but if somebody ever tries something, they know where they're going. And we could be beefing, but they know where they're going.
That's it.
Nah, you can't say that on air, man.
No. I'm being honest. This is from a man's perspective.
Yeah, you can.
I
You can
love
say that
her.
on air.
No,
Yeah.
I'm saying I'm not saying we're going through anything right now. I'm saying if we have an argument, because this is regular relationship 101.
That's
we
right.
have disagreements. But ultimately, I still love you. Like I'm not, and I'm not going to let nobody do anything to you. I'm
You're her
still
protector.
on my job. This is my job.
That's right.
protection.
That's right.
So that's all I'm saying. It's not that she's in trouble. She's doing anything wrong. Like we good. But my
But
thing is
in the event
love.
she is, they better look both ways before they
Yes.
cross.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
what he said.
That's
No
right.
matter what.
I heard him.
That love has to be forged before we start understanding the language of it. And things change as we grow. Sometimes your past hinders your future and how you need to be delivered that message of love.
Right.
Somebody may have touched you the wrong way. And then I come along, I can't touch you where the person touched you wrong at.
That's right.
I have to find a different way to get you safe and get you secure with me.
That part.
That part.
So
Now, Paul, you just jumped into something real deep for another podcast.
Hey,
We're coming back at another time, and anybody who wants to join can, for the inner child. Because most people ignore that child, and that child needs you. They need you to hear them, see them, and acknowledge them, and they're inside. Most people don't even know they exist, and you touched on that a little bit. We're not going to deal with it tonight, but that's the topic, the inner child. Do you know who yours is? We're going to get to that. So, Paul, thank you for sharing that. That's great. I have one final question. Drum roll, please. Winston, give me yeah. You met somebody. You liked them a lot. They had all of the love language intact, but they had what we refer to as mental illness or narcissistic tendencies. Could you move forward?
Can we get some clarity on mental illness?
Can I go in right straight? Can I go in?
So
Can I go
let's let
straight?
Winston go in first, and then we'll get back to you, Sharon.
And all I wanted to say was, ain't that's kind of what's going on right now? And I want to say it just like that. I don't want to say it properly. Ain't that kind of what's going on out here right now?
Are we in fact experiencing that right now? Yes, we are. Because
I can't with you, bro.
in this day and age, Paul and Sam are safe.
Right.
Charity, are you safe? Are you married?
No, I'm safe.
So, Charity, Sharon, Winston, and Annette are single. And let me tell you something. This dating pool out here doesn't just have pee in it, has poop in it. But I do want to say that there's some great folks out here. They're not going to be in the places that most people look. And for women, we don't have to look for them. God said they'll find us. We just have to be prepared and out there. And for men, you will find her. But if they are suffering mental illness and or narcissistic tendencies, can we jump in? And let me add a little bit here. Full transparency. I'm widowed. I was widowed for many years and got involved with a friend who I thought was a friend, but had not only narcissistic tendencies, but mental illness as well. Now, there's a difference between the two, and a narcissistic person just is not always just somebody who misbehaves. It's much bigger than that. And people have labeled narcissist unfairly because a narcissist has its own degree of issues. And knowing who and what they are is important. But I got involved with one unknowingly, a friend that I admired and respected. He had all the love language. I want to make it clear, all of it. Sharon, this is going to your point. All of the love language intact. He had all of the right look, feel, touch, conversation. He could talk about anything. But after getting to that point, and that's why, Sam, to the discussion you had earlier, this is so important. He had all the right things. Had I jumped put my head in the bed first, the trauma would have been greater. But taking the time to get to know him, as you spoke to also, Sam, was critically important because there are real narcissists out here. You have to know the difference between a narcissist and somebody who is mentally ill. And sometimes there'll be a dual diagnosis. Do you stay because they have your love language? Winston, I'm going to start with you quickly.
All right. Well, I was going to go, it depends on how deep the pool is, because
the pool is polluted.
It's very polluted. It's very polluted. But every if you see some of the people that's that close, if they're that close, that means we might share some of the same. Not all the symptoms. Now we might share some of the same symptoms. Now I know everybody will be like, no, not me. But I'm saying even me. I might. All right, I'm talking to somebody who's narcissistically deep. You know what I mean, kind of sick. Maybe we could go together The love language is we can go somewhere and get help together if one of us recognize. That's the love language. We can help one another.
Okay.
We can help each other out of it. I mean, it depends on how deep it is, though, because it cannot be so deep where the other person couldn't manage it. You know, one person is going to be too much of a burden on one. But if you can help each other, that's the love language right there. Why not? Why not try it? You know what I mean? Why not try it? I'm looking at it at this point because I lost a lot of people and I'm seeing how easy it is to lose life. So I'm like, yo, you got to see the beauty in some things. The things is just seeing beauty in some things. Not beauty isn't everywhere, but it's in certain things. And that's where you see a lot of crazy relationships. Hillbilly, somebody limping, but this my girl. You feel me? And this my guy, and they happy. And that's what it's about. That's what it's about. As long as they're together and they happy,
All right. Thank you, Charity.
Oh, hell no. That's my
I don't think she hesitated. Said it.
Not wait to tell y'all. Now, there, of course, is levels. If you a little crazy, because I got some crazy stuff with me, I can work with you and do exactly what Winston said. I'm like, let's put this thing together. But narcissistic and mental health, hell no. There you go, Lynette. Whatever you want to do with that.
That's a lethal combination.
Right?
That's a lethal combination. Come on, Sam.
So I'm gonna say it's like your tolerance for hot sauce, right?
Yes.
Right. I mean, some people they can only do Tabasco. Some people can do the scorpion sauce, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have to understand what your willingness is to wade in that water. And again, all those other pieces that about how they make you feel. I mean, because the reality is that everybody walks into a relationship with something. There's baggage that we all carry.
That's true.
Right? Some of it is our own blind spots. I like the way Winston said it. He's like, some people be looking like, well, it ain't me. And what I say is that if you got all this crazy going on, it just might be you. You just don't know what you do.
They attracted it.
Exactly. So I mean, you can never say what you will never do, right? Because you've not been in that situation. My wife knows my blind spots. She knows my challenges, and she loves me in spite of. I know her blind spots, and I know her challenges. I love her in spite of. Unlike Brother Paul, I didn't have the option of knowing my wife from high school for 10 years. I literally met Teska November 15th of 1996, and we got married December 27th of 1997. Right? So, but we just knew that was it. So
that's also a blessing too.
Yeah, that's a blessing.
I'm sorry for cutting you, but that's a blessing. Like everybody don't get those type of blessings too.
Right.
But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Exactly. No, you right on it. So I mean, there are different levels, just like Sister Charity said, of narcissism. Most people have a little bit of narcissism with them because it just means that you're about you and how much you share and show. But then there's that other level of mental illness that can you stand the heat in that kitchen, right? And I don't know how good I am, because my lifestyle moves fast, right? So I don't know how nurturing I'd be in that situation. So it wouldn't be good for either one of us.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. Sharon?
Yeah, that's why I said, Charity said it, it's levels. I find out that there's a lot of men that,
actually, Sharon, I think Charity said hell no.
She said no.
That's exactly what she
like
said.
Rosa Parks. No.
Hell to the no. No.
I was willing to deal with crazy though.
Charity, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's what you said.
That's what she said. That's what
I heard. My flat out answer was hell no.
That's
but
what she
I did
said.
say that there was levels. Like I'm willing to deal with crazy because I got a little crazy in myself. but
Right.
it's levels to this. But what
Right.
you said is a hell no to that, and I've experienced that too in that. So.
Right.
Go ahead,
Because
Sharon.
I have you know, I actually talked to someone who suffers from PTSD. And
Mm.
so it's like one of those things where, because of my background, it's not a big thing, but like we talk about, it's levels. So I need to know exactly how deep this is for you. You know what I mean? Because that can be dangerous.
Yeah.
It can be dangerous.
Right.
You know, like you have to see things for what they really are, not for what you think they should be. You know, oh, it shouldn't be that bad. It might not be that. No, if it's that bad, I need to know it's that bad. You know, because
Right.
then I know how to deal with it. And maybe
Yeah.
dealing with it might be not dealing with it, you know. But as far as that, the narcissist, stay away from me, because I can't handle it. Like I just can't handle it. It's too much for me. So and that's a true narcissist. I'm not. There's a difference between a narcissist and an asshole. So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to call, but y'all know what I meant though.
Right.
Yeah, narcissism is. I don't play with it.
She said what she said.
Right.
You said what you said. That's right.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. She says she don't play with it. All right, Paul. What do you say?
I'm not going to condemn it.
You're not going to condemn.
I'm not going
What?
to condemn the relationship if somebody has narcissism or if they have mental health issues. There's
Okay.
different varieties of mental health issues,
Okay.
including narcissism being one of them. And
Right.
we don't really know that we live with a lot of them ourselves, each and every one of us, every single day. So I can just say, I can't give a flat out no or yes, but if we're compatible and I'm able to handle your load and you're able to handle my load, then let's ride this thing till the wheels fall off.
Okay.
You know?
You're brave. And I appreciate and respect that, because I do. I respect it because from my experience and with my strength and with my hope, what I know for sure is my boundaries.
That's right.
I'm
That's
real
right.
clear about that, as all of you have made clear that you are too. So love language is about communicating. I think as men and women, we agree that the need to first know and understand and communicate is how we do it. So for those of you who are listening, and there will be hundreds later, we have a few on now. Communication is the key. Understanding what the love language is, and then communication is the key. When it comes to certain things, we have a yay, a nay, wheels fall off, hell no, hell no. And I've had that experience. So we have the gamut here tonight. I want to thank you for joining me. Love language is important and it matters. I don't think anybody on this podcast has one language. As Chastity made clear, there are multiple languages. Who made that clear? Was that you, Chastity?
For the Paul.
It was
Charity.
Paul.
Oh,
Charity. You know what? I keep calling Charity Chastity because those two names, Charity and Chastity, are a combination. But Charity, Paul, Sharon, Winston, and Sam have made it clear tonight where they are in this. I think what's most important for our audience who will listen now and later is find out where you are in it. Find out how your love language works for you. And we're going to wrap it up here. And I'm going to ask my guests to give you one last statement that they want you to remember about love language and communication. Just a short statement. And I'm going to start with Charity.
Oh man, what's my statement? My first statement is, if you're not subscribed to my Dates Galore channel, and you can find me on YouTube at Dates Galore, appreciate that. In regards to the love language, this conversation made me realize that we don't even need to discuss love language if you don't have what's needed. So love language is actually a conversation for the future, for us to move forward in the future and for that long lasting love. So that's what I think it's important to remember, not just the love language, and learn the love languages, the 5 love languages, which is what? Acts of service, gift giving, touch, quality time, and affirmations. Dig in deep. I encourage everybody and make sure you know yours and know that there are tiers that you can build on, and you're going to need different ones at different times. And communicate that to your partner. I need a little bit of that touch, like Sam said. Make sure you're doing it right, because that's going to annoy me. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's my drop with it.
Yes. 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 Okay. Come on, Paul.
All right. If for all the watchers out there and the listeners, please understand that the love language is a power. So protect yourself. Be mindful of who you let utilize this power on you. Because there are some people out there that's going to master these powers and have you wrapped around their finger and don't really love you. So know to distinguish between the true language of love and the false or artificial. With that being said, you can see us at www.dieseltherapeutics.com for all mental health issues.
All right.
Mhm.
Okay. We have dates galore, right? Is that right, Chastity?
That's charity.
Charity?
That's correct.
Charity? Is that right?
Mhm.
And Paul, we have diesel therapy.
Yep, Diesel Therapeutics.
Diesel Therapeutics. Okay. Sharon, your future podcast and what you think about the question I asked.
Which question?
It was the last statement. What's the last statement you want to leave the audience with?
Oh, okay. Um, the statement I want to make is as far as communication. A lot of times I hear how important communication is, but for me, it needs to be effective communication.
Okay.
Because a lot of people don't really know how to communicate. People don't know how to listen. They just listening to respond. They're not listening to what
Okay.
you're saying.
Yeah.
So it's not just communication in and of itself. It needs to be effective communication. That's
Okay.
for me.
All right. Sam.
So when I was 11 years old, I asked my pastor if I was on an island, how would I know that there was a God? And he said, if you can see the ocean and you can see the trees, you got to know that someone greater than you created that. And so you might not call him God, but you would know that there was something that was greater than you. When you talk about love languages, we have to recognize that love languages is a combination lock, which you're trying to figure out with a person that you want to have a relationship with. What is the combination that unlocks them? Or what is the combination that unlocks me? And so we recognize that that's what love language is really all about. You don't have to know the proper name. I agree with Charity. Get the book, read the book, you'll understand that part of it. But then you have to put that into practice. And so what's the combination that unlocks you? And what's the other combination that unlocks me?
Wow. I like that. Thank you. You guys are getting a little deep. I like it. Come on, Winston.
It's me now. So
Where's your what? Where's your mic?
right here,
That's right.
always got the microphone. But the main thing is stay a student in whatever it is that you do from
Okay.
being in the love language.
Yeah.
Even if you're at the level of a teacher, sometimes even the teacher is a student as well, because you have to learn whoever the person that you have to learn them that you're teaching. You have to learn it's not just I'm teaching. It's just one way. You have to learn the person to teach the person, you know, and that's even a love language. That's in life. That's probably in every arithmetic problem, anything English, but it's in every direction. You have to learn the student and also be the student as well. So you have to share. I'm not asking anybody to be a narcissist to learn what the narcissist think. I'm not asking a person to do
Please
that.
don't.
But I'm just asking you, you got to have a little understanding, like a small amount of understanding. That's how we find the beauty in things like, oh, you know, that's how we read art, right? When we read art, we see the finest things, the beauty, the thing that, you know, that's the strap that's on that painting that my grandmother beat me with. You get what I'm saying? It might not be so like you got a whipping because you did something wrong, but that's the same belt that my grandmother beat me with. And that might have been, 30 years ago, but my grandmother passed on, but somebody painted the same belt, you know, and you find your beauty in your art. And that's, you know, if you join with somebody can see the same belt that you see, you know, that's beautiful. That's beautiful art. You know, that's your love language, and that's how you fall. You could get, you know, you get inseparable. So, you know, I mean, y'all tune in to Winston Dramatic Show. We got a lot of beautiful folks that come on the show, and they're a piece of art. You know what I mean? They're a piece of art. You can see the art in their heart. But that's what we raise around Trenton area. So everybody outside, keep in mind, check me out Sunday nights, the Winston Dramatic Show. All right, thanks. Thank you.
I want to thank all my guests tonight: Sam Frisbee, Charity Lee. That's Charity, not Chastity.
Right.
And Paul Mills, Sharon Such a Diva Harris, and Winston Dramatic Mills. People who have shared their experience, strength, and hope tonight. I want to thank you for joining us. See us on YouTube. Don't forget to put our business in the street. And we're also on Facebook. Thank you, Winston. We're also on Facebook. And each one of my guests have something to offer you. Check them out on Facebook, follow them, and like their page. Thank you, and good night, all. Thank
Good
you.
night.
Good night, all.
Nice to meet you all.
Be well.
Meet you guys.
Good night,
Good
everybody.
night.
Good night.
Good night.